things. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Nothing on the bottom? Nope. Just looked like the tail end was higher. There's a little wobble in it. Okay. Well, should we find out what's going on today? Hi, Blaine. What's your job?
A little retaining wall, a little grading, move some dirt around. Got to get the water to flow around the house instead of through the house.
What? Are they having a flooded basement?
Close, if it rains enough.
Really?
He said last rain he had about 6 inches backed up his patio door.
So we're not doing a French drain? Nothing like that?
We're building it up, building a wall to get the water to go out into the yard and around the house and out towards the street.
Okay. Can you come show us what's going on? A lot of times, just so you guys know, we have 3 solutions when a person's having water problems in their basement. The first one we try to always do is look at the grades. We always look at downspouts and gutters too, though. That's going to be one of the first things. I see none of that here. But we look at the grades first, then a French drain is the second option, and then third option is full-fledged foundation waterproofing, and then the last option is interior drain tile. Oof.
So here's the hump that's holding the water in.
So everything flows right down to there. Everything from this whole yard comes this way. This comes this way, so...
We're building a retaining wall right under the vent.
Under the vent? Okay.
Up, so we can get the water to come out this way.
Okay, so we kick everything this way.
Yep. Then we're just going to bring it around and we're just going to tie it down. And it's all going to get filled in with the dirt that we take from out there.
So we'll get all this water to go this way.
Out, and we're scraping that down. So we'll go out to a low spot.
To the side.
We're getting it out.
Nice. That sounds good. The grading should be a great first step, but if this continues to be a problem, then we could install a French drain to get it right out to the property line. Just come in right through here. So there's the second option. All right.
So this is the low spot.
Yep.
So we're going to be shaving some of this down so it can get out of here.
Yep.
And then we got, because this is still higher than that approach.
Yep.
So we can shave this all down.
The whole.
All this can come up here.
And then you'll probably shave a titch of the hill off just to blend everything.
Yep.
So you're gonna borrow everything on site, no importation.
Shouldn't have to.
Except for it's gonna be soddy, turfy.
Well, there's about, he said there's about 3 inches of black dirt, then it's all pure sand.
Ugh.
I know.
Oof.
Maybe you want some better stuff to.
Yeah, but that's gonna be tough to work with. Sand.
We did a pool demo
just down the road.
2 blocks away, and it was pure sugar sand.
All right.
And he said it's about
Fun.
75 feet deep. I'm like, do they have a mine somewhere?
So before we can really begin to do anything on this job site, you'll see red flags on the ground. Those are buried utilities. And so we've got to hand locate where all of those utilities are. And then we found out during the hand locate part of it that one of them runs right directly beneath where the retaining wall is going to go. So we've got to take it out of the ground and then move it over and then rebury it after we get the wall put in place. So we can't just put the wall on top of that line, because if anything ever happened to that line, it would damage the customer's retaining wall, because whatever contractor came in after us would probably just start yanking on it and undermine the footings for the retaining wall. So that's got to get moved over and set far enough away from the wall that if they ever needed to work on it, they could do that. Now, one of the tricks we learned a long time ago to make our lives easier when we get on retaining wall projects is to use the same material beneath the wall as we do in the drainage zone, and that's 3/4 clear. If you use the right material, this angular stone 3/4 inches in size, it locks in place enough that it makes actually a really good base material, and it saves you from ordering 2 separate trips down to the gravel pit to pick up one type of material for base and a totally different type of material for drainage. So one of our go-to blocks is the Versalock standard unit. It is the only solid block that is actually still pinned. And how this works is Blaine's got to line up these pinholes with the slot below it and drive that pin in place. It doesn't give them a large margin for error, but when you do it right, you've got a good strong block and a good connection method. There's a lot of other blocks that have lips in the back, and those lips tend to break off over the course of time. A little bit of ground movement and you get issues with those lips. So that's why we go with these. There's good and bad to every one of these systems, but this is the one we prefer. Now you can make radiuses with these blocks. Is there dirt on the back side of that block, Blaine? Am I just seeing things? Maybe I'm just seeing things. Nothing on the bottom?
Nope.
Just looked like the tail end was higher.
There was a
Little wobble in it. Okay. So that could be a number of factors. It could be the base is off, or it could be a defect in the block, but it also means that there's a ridge. So when the base is wobbly like that, I want to show these guys right where the problem is going to potentially lie. Right there. Because that's going to be your pivot point. Now on a wall this size, we don't have to worry about it. But if this wall was a bigger wall, so a defect in the block would mean that during the manufacturing, a lot of times what you'll see is the back end will be, I think that made it worse. Yep, instantly made it worse. There you go. There you go. A little better now, isn't it? Yep. Okay, so there we go. So on a big wall, we got to get rid of those. On a small wall, it's not going to affect it. It's not going to impact it. You got a larger margin for error on a small wall. So that's why there's so many good reasons why this is the perfect place to practice these little ones. Get it all right here, and then when you just translate that to a bigger wall, you won't have any problems. So what you'll see is Todd will carry him down, and then Blaine is actually setting him and lining him up. On longer runs, where we'll do a super long run, we'll actually run a string line around on the back, not the front, because this front has this rough face right here, and the back has a nice smooth face. And so if we run a string line down the back of the block, that gives us a better control over the block instead of having these weird ridges in the front impacting the string line and throwing it off. So we're supposed to have a minimum of 12 inches of drainage aggregate behind the retaining wall, but I always tell the guys, don't be afraid to go 18 or even double at 24 inches. It's just cheap insurance and probably one of the easiest ways to extend the life of your retaining wall. When it comes to drainage aggregate, it's one of those cases where more is actually better. Music creeps into my dreams. Now, regrading this entire backyard was to correct the water problem, and the reason we go to so much work is I'm a firm believer in keeping the water out. Now, interior drain tile is an option, but I've always tried to keep the water from penetrating and getting inside in the first place. Once you do that, you don't need interior drain tile. Well, with the retaining wall completed and the ability to raise the grade at the back of the house, we now need to borrow the dirt from the side of the house and try to get all of the water to flow from the back all the way down the side and to the street. So as we're cutting the grade, Todd's going to be using the laser to make sure that we got all of the elevation and pitch running the right way.
Before it is too late to flee, I feel there is no other way. It's what I can do, what I can do. When I want to be with you, but you know there's music too. Don't let jealousy.
So no matter how careful we are, you can still have problems, which you're actually going to see in just a few minutes because this soil is semi-loose. We haven't done any compaction on it because we do want to reestablish vegetation on it. And then what happens to us is before the vegetation actually gets established, we get a pretty big rain come down. Well, it was a couple-day gusher, and it kind of messed up our grades. So you'll see that in a minute. All right, you guys, well, we've wrapped this job up for the most part. We're actually on down the road, but we were just doing a little check-in and discovered a couple problem areas that need to be addressed. Now, first off, when we say we wrap this job up, you'll be looking at it going, well, there's dirt, there's not grass here. Well, a lot of times we actually like to leave a little bit of what we call sweat equity in the job. Now, we could have seeded this, we could have sodded this for the customer, or we can let them do that themselves and save some money. And a lot of times we just give them a sense of direction how to do it themselves, and these guys don't mind tackling it on their own. In fact, this customer actually wanted us to leave some extra dirt behind so that they could do some other stuff around their house. And we're glad we did, because we do have to come back and touch up a few spots that I want to show you in a minute. But before I show you those problem areas, let's take a look at how the wall turned out here. Now, this is a downspout, so all the water is designed to come out and away. Before, it used to go right into the house. Big problem. So now you can actually see from the rain how everything is flowing a good amount away from the house, going down that way, and now they have a dry basement. That's because we were able to get this retaining wall in, and that helped change enough of the grades to kick everything the right way. But even with that being said, we're not perfect yet, you guys, right? I want to show you a few spots that we do need to come and fix before we can feel comfortable leaving this in their hands. Right here, this is a bit of a low area. We're going to take a little bit of that dirt, bring it over and put that into that spot. And then right through here, we got just a little bit. It's just a little bit of hand shoveling. It doesn't require machine work. And we don't want to use up all of that dirt because they want some of that dirt. So then what we're going to do, we've got a good aggressive pitch going down to the street, but we got a bit of a high area right in here. And you can see where if we could just shave a little bit of that off, then we're going to be able to get all of this water to flow pretty good clip right down to the street. So that's all I got for you for today, guys. You guys tell me, do you like videos like this, these job site videos? Because if you do, just say more job site videos and I will start pumping them out for you left and right. I'll do the best I can for you guys. And while you're here, do me a favor, tell your friends about my channel, hit the subscribe button, check out these two videos that I'm going to put up right here. God bless you guys, and go get them.